The Alfie Whattam podcast.
Hey, this podcast is brought to you by WeLoveAlpha.com. If you're looking to grow and hire and scale your software engineering team in the UK, then go to WeLoveAlpha.com to hire the best software developers on the market. Everything across Java to C# to PHP to Python to React and Angular and mobile and more. Go to WeLoveAlpha.com to hire the best software engineers in the UK now. Hello and welcome back to the Alfie Whattam Technology Podcast. This is episode 95. This is a show where we talk about everything that's happening in the world of tech. Thanks for joining, thanks for following, thanks for subscribing, etc., etc., etc. Today in the studio, I've got two guests. I'll go to them both now. Let's do intros. Maurizio, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, mate, what your background is, where you work, and that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Maurizio. I'm a software engineer by birth. I'm now working as engineering manager for Cloudflare, which is, maybe some of you know, I hope most of you know. It's a technology company, networking company. We target speeding up the whole internet. And I was working for a couple of startups before, and then I joined Cloudflare as an engineering manager. And we work on the FL team, which is effectively, we manage the servers that are on the perimeter of the internet, and therefore we do most of the networking that our company is famous for.
That's cool. I like how you said born as a software engineer. Like you came out the womb coding.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Because that's exactly what I started as a software engineer. Then I progressed as a software engineer. Here I was actually working in Shoreditch, very nearby here.
Oh, nice.
And then
yeah, it's a cool spot, isn't it? Very quirky around here.
exactly,
Yeah.
Startups especially.
What sort of tech stack is your bread and butter? What do you work with in your team? What do your developers use?
Yeah, so our team maintain these servers, it's based on Nginx, so it's very big, famous servers, but we substantially took it and rolled it out, completely disassembled it. Yes. We use Rust. We have plugin in Lua, but most of our stack is C, C++, and Rust for everything that is fast and performing and safe, because we are at the edge. That means that we are the mostly hit by any kind of weird traffic and weird traffic patterns, potentially malicious, and that's why we need to be really safe here.
That's cool. C++, that embedded firmware-y world is an interesting place to be, because it's like the underlying tech which runs things that move and operate. I remember I used to work with a company when I lived in New Zealand, which did ATM software, and it surprised me like the C++ needed to push out the money and the bank card going in. It's surprising how much the world needs that tech, that people don't realize how essential it is really. Without like those underlying technologies, the world would just go to nothing and like overnight.
Yeah, that's correct. And that's more or less the same thing. So if you think about the internet and networking itself, we are still based on protocols that are from the 80s, and they are the very backbones of the internet. Then we build all the funny stuff on top of it. We build Facebook, we build Instagram, we build ChatGPT, whatever it is. But the underlying things that makes you, okay, I need to go on google.com. Yeah. What happens in the backbone is still there from the 80s. BGP is still there. Nobody's going to remove it because it's such an effort from the whole worldwide population to congregate together and decide the same things that it will never be a game.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. It'd be good to get your perspective into what's happening in the world. And Rémi, thank you for joining us as well, mate. Tell us a little bit about who you are, your projects, your background, that sort of thing, mate.
Sure. I wasn't born as a software engineer, but I was trained as a software engineer, or a computer scientist, though. So I'm out of uni. I started a company called Lenflow, and then evolved to Fiber. We were in the SME financing space, so I was co-founder and CTO of the company. At the end we had like a 1.5 billion book that we were managing. And then about close to a year and a half ago now, I started a new company in the Web3 space. So I personally had been in the Web3 space since about 2013, but I got distracted by my main job. I started a company called called Alluo.
Yeah.
Alluo is on mission to democratize the access to financial services, and we use Web3 to do this, but not only. It's a very big problem that has a lot of facets that you need to look at.
Yes.
And then about 3 or 4 months ago now, out of the pains of Alluo, we started another company called Unblock. And so Unblock solves a specific problem that Alluo has, which is how do you get fiat money, so traditional money, onto the blockchain.
Okay.
It's traditionally called an on and off ramp. We don't like to use that name, but that's traditionally what it's called.
Cool.
So today I run these two, I guess, as a CTO.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming back on. We had a conversation, I think it was like 2 years ago, maybe, on a webcam on an early episode. And I remember I asked you a question about what you think the future of tech's going to be. And I think you were going into crypto back then and blockchain and Web3 and going on about it. So it's good to see that you've that you're trying to skate to where the puck is going.
Exactly. Took the big step.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely cool. And what about from I suppose Web3 and software development perspective? What are you guys using in your team? What are you?
It's interesting. Web3 is very specific tech stack. So we build on EVM chains, so Ethereum virtual machines.
Yeah.
And so there's a specific language that everybody uses. There are some side languages,
Solidity,
it's Solidity. Yeah. So there are some side languages that some people use, but they're really not that common. And some of them are based on Rust, and quite complicated to get. It's a very small community that uses them. So Solidity mainly for the blockchain infrastructure, but then, like I said, there's a lot of other facets. So we use a traditional React Native. With a backend in TypeScript for our mobile app, and Unblock is entirely TypeScript.
That's
TypeScript, cool. AWS. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Cool. Well, look.
Cloudflare. We use Cloudflare as our DNS. So
there you go. Really? Oh wow! I had no idea. Did you know?
Yeah, I didn't know. Well, we have a bit.
You have a lot of customers. Yeah.
Cloudflare's massive.
Yes, and also so we keep things very much separated. So I barely know most of the most famous customers, but. We try very much to split things aside so that because it's a big responsibility, right? When you hold the key to the internet, to not have any kind of relationship between engineering and business that just doesn't work. So that's why I didn't know about that.
We've seen the downside of that with Twitter recently, with business getting too close to government and those relationships. Grey can sometimes be a bit, So there is definitely a line that you need to draw sometimes between that sort of thing. Okay, cool. Well, look, good to get your points of view, chaps, into what's happening in tech. So, first thing I wanted to talk about is this was just unveiled at I think it was at CES the other day, the Consumer Electronics Show, and BMW have come out with what could be a great innovation in the world of cars, or it could just be a complete gimmick. But it'd be good to have a chat about it. But they've released a color changing car. Okay, and they've demoed this. I'm not sure if you've seen it at all, but it's been all over the press
with an e-ink paint. Yeah,
absolutely, man. Let's play a quick clip. In editing, we'll have this on the screen. So if you're just listening to audio, then now's a good time to turn on the video. Changes color like a chameleon. There it is in purple. And it has e-ink screens all over it, so it can do different colors. There we are. It goes to it's like a yellow color. It can also do multiple colors at the same time. If you want to. Perhaps this is like mirroring what's happening around it, like a chameleon would, but it can change into any color that you set it in theory. And there's obviously thousands and millions and billions of different color combinations and that sort of thing. So BMW trying to innovate the car world. What are your thoughts on this, Rémi? What do you think?
It's interesting. I think it's the second time that they show an e-ink display on a car. So I think it's the last CES they showed a black and white, and the innovation this year is that it's color.
Yeah.
I mean, look, this is not something we'll see in a production car next year, but I think it's always interesting to see where are they generally looking at, what could be, apart from the gimmick of, okay, can you display the British flag on your car? I mean, you can always buy a Mini with a British flag on the roof. Yeah. I think there's some interesting possibilities that you could do with changing colors. I don't know, even if you think about I don't like to speak about this, but on military applications, you know, camouflaging a car or so on and so forth.
That's a good idea. I never thought about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could be quite interesting. So yeah, I think it's interesting to see where it's going, but it's funny how they often show at CES and people are like, oh, next year I'm going to get a color changing car. I'm like, maybe not.
Yeah, this is a sneak peek preview into the future.
Yeah,
right?
into maybe 5-10 years. Yeah,
absolutely. What's your perspective, Maurizio?
So, first of all, when I first saw this clip, I said, "Well, Grand Theft Auto." When I was young and playing Grand Theft Auto, and you went to the one that was painting over your car to escape from the police. That's exactly what it is. It might just be my adversarial mindset, but hey, this is like exactly what, as a malicious guy, I would like to have, not to be recognizable by anyone, because I can constantly change my color. I really like your idea. Military application seems to be the groundwork here. I would be surprised. So this is, I don't know about the story, but this is coming from BMW. I would be surprised if BMW developed this alone and not in collaboration with the German army or something, because this seems like just too useful for, especially in the drone world right now.
Yeah, color changing drones.
Exactly. We don't fight anymore with people. We fight now with technology. So this sounds like the natural application. Outside of it, I'm sorry, but I can only see like police surveillance, these sort of things, which might be on the good side, in the sense that, for example, let's say that you have an exhibition, right, or you have a famous dancer or a famous group, music band group or whatever. You want to surveil the place, but you don't want to interfere with the lights and so on and so forth. So you might want to adjust these things accordingly, so that they display the colors even in agreement with what the group is playing as a music or
like
whatever.
On the clip, how in the background, that's cool. It could be used as a value add to add to the entertainment in that respect. It's interesting you mentioned military. I did not think about that at all, Rémi, but in theory, if you had cameras on like the front of a tank, and then on the display on the back, or vice versa.
It displays the back of it.
Exactly, it's invisible. You have an invisible moving object that can blow you to smithereens. I mean, that's really cool. And drones, that's a really, really, potentially good and dangerous use case. But that's definitely something that would be interesting. Well, I thought exactly the same thing that you said about GTA, about police cars. Like you'd go in and you'd get them to change the color, right? And then all your stars, your wanted level would go.
Exactly. That's the same thing. Or so, just for me, for understanding, is this on a surface, or is it a painting? Is it?
It's an e-ink display just on the car. That's
like a Kindle.
So technically, this could be applicable also to clothing.
Yeah, I mean, it might be heavy, but the Kindles.
And I don't think it's flexible either.
It's not flexible. Okay.
Need to get Samsung involved in that. They're masters at bending screens, aren't they? There you go. They love that. Do you think this could seriously be an issue for police if a car changes color and maybe they have a digital license plate where they can just swap it out? I mean, I know it's a pretty niche area, right? Like people that commit crime, people that would use this, but could you see that potentially being a thing in like a cyberpunk 5-10 years dystopian future? What do you think, Rémi?
Hopefully it's going to be more than 10 years dystopian future. I don't think so. I think recognizing a car by its color is really a thing of the past. Like it's a thing that maybe human police uses, but cameras and so on and so forth will not recognize a car. Like AI will not recognize a car by its color. It'll be a part of it, but it won't be all of it.
It'll just have a chip inside it.
It'll have a chip, or it'll be with a license plate, or it'll be with something else. So I'm not worried.
And also considering that real world crime is now a thing that is very minor. The real crime happen on the internet, not in the real world with real cars. Yeah. It's much faster to do a transaction on the internet.
Here's an interesting use case. What about putting ads on cars? Like if you've got screens, like you're going to have advertisers flocking to that. Do you think that would be distracting, seeing like...
Yeah, it could be.
But it could be a good thing. Like you could put your company's logo on a car, and or just you could sell advertising space. You know how you have Google, is it AdSense or AdWords, and how you don't need to if you're putting that on your website, on your app, you don't need to negotiate directly with advertisers. You just hook up the Google link, and then boom, whatever they want to display is displayed. You get a little bit of a cut of the profits, but when they click through, I'm not sure how you'd measure that on cars. Maybe you'd just have to pay per
yeah, same with pay per display or so.
Yeah.
In the crypto world, you could display your NFT on your car.
Oh man.
There you go.
Like part of me is like, yeah, part of me is like, no. Like seeing cyberpunk just like driving around everywhere.
Exactly. Other than the crime, my cyberpunk dystopia is advertisement everywhere you go on cars. That's bad.
Do you think that's a real possibility? Like that could happen with this sort of tech? Because that's where my mind goes to. Like you have screens, like you could in theory sell something through that screen. So why wouldn't people, unless there's no regulation to get rid of that distraction? My mind would say, yeah, that'll probably be a thing like Red Bull cars going around and stuff.
I was about to say, I think regulation would come in because it'd be ridiculously distracting if you had, and I mean, I don't know, people could start putting potentially 18 plus pictures on there. It's like you cannot drive like that. So yeah, I think regulation would come in.
That's very true. But if you pair that with self-driving Teslas, there you go. You don't need to be careful about the road because anyway, it's self-driving.
Self-driving advertisement.
Self-driving advertisement.
Self-driving NFTs. Oh my God. What have we created?
Yeah.
There's some exec in BMW listening to this right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I have the future.
That's my bonus. That's there.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what to think of that. That's either amazing or terrifying.
It's terrifying.
Also because, I mean, so he said regulation will come in. Regulation on these things is extremely hard. We saw it on the internet already. There is no regulation on advertisements on the internet. And the regulation on the cookies in European Union now is already as bad as it is. Like
GDPR doesn't work. It's like nobody cares about it. If you're spamming out email newsletters, nobody's going to call GDPR and report you for it. Very, very, very rarely it happens. You just unsubscribe or you block them. I mean, it's the effort that it takes to get around that sort of thing. Like it doesn't matter what the regulation is when it's something like advertising. If there's a way to make money, people will use it.
Yep.
I think the big difference between an email, a website, and cookies and so is any stupid person can spin up a website. I mean, it's especially these days.
Yeah.
But being able to advertise on not anybody can just build a car and start advertising whatever they want on their car. So they won't regulate the car. They'll regulate the manufacturers of the car, and it'll be blocked in software like at the core. So I think it's two different things.
An interesting view. I had an episode on. We were discussing like the future of digital advertising recently, and we had a clip where it was a billboard which was just a QR code, and if you have Facebook, AR glasses on or whatever, this is a futuristic thing, you would see whatever, everyone that sees that ad, it would be different based on your preferences, based on what you've liked and that sort of thing. That could be on the cars. You could have cars with QR codes going around, and if you keep viewing the same website on Amazon, then you'll see that product following you around, going, buy me now. Go on OpenSea, buy this NFT for me. Have you seen Trump's NFTs?
Yeah, I have. He's made loads of money with it, actually. Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous.
Hey, if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think this is a gimmick, or do you think it's going to be on the road? What if you had to place a yes or no bet, what would you say, Maurizio?
I would say that yes. I don't know if it's going to be on the road as a car, but definitely the idea of having e-displays on things are all around. In about 20 years' time, it's going to be.
Okay, so your more long-term view, you think it's going to happen, but it's probably not tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. What do you think, Rémi?
Same. I'd be more optimistic. I don't think 20 years. I think shorter than that. But for sure, we'll see displays on cars, but other things like we discussed, drones and things like that.
Well, I mean, when screens become flexible, right? Like they'll be on everything. When the price is so cheap, you will have a screen on literally everything, on clothing for Christ's sake.
Why we're not?
Yeah. It's gonna happen. I would confidently make that prediction. Okay. The next piece of tech news is a product by Ring, the doorbell security guys, and they previewed this. I think it was last year, but this is the year when they're going to really, really ramp up shipping apparently, and try to make this popular. So it's essentially combining a Ring security doorbell with a drone. Okay, so this is the Ring drone, and it's a home drone device. It will sit there in your house, and you can set it to designated pre-flight patterns. You can hold it, walk around the house, and then it will learn using AI, and then it will replicate that if you're away. Obviously, great if someone breaks into your house. Terrifying if you break into somebody's house and a drone flies in front of your face. That would scare the hell out of me. But let's play the clip and let's get your perspective. If you're listening on audio only, turn on the video, please. So it flies out of its charging station, self-charges, and it's a drone ring. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, like, it's either amazing or terrifying, depending on which perspective you're looking at this through. But there is a burglar, and he's obviously, what the hell is going on? You can watch it on your phone. You can record it. You can play it back. You pay a subscription. I have a ring, and there it is. It self-charges. Cool. So the ring drone. Okay. What's your take on this, Maurizio?
So I am. Well, this is a Roomba with a webcam.
Yeah.
Substantially.
Yeah.
Which has the problem of being a Roomba with a webcam. Is there anything more terrifying than knowing that something is effectively spying in your house all the time and sending the data to a third party, which might be good, it might be hacked, it might be a problem.
Yeah.
I'm not super sure I get the purpose of the surveillance. Like, what's the purpose? To scare the thief?
Well, I suppose it's a home security device, right? So if, a lot of people already have Ring doorbells, right? And that's just pointed at one particular location, the door, most of the time. But if instead of buying 5 of them, you could have it to fly around. Or if you've got pets at home, you could use it to keep an eye on the kids or the pets or whatever. Not that I'd recommend leaving your kids at home, but and there are a couple of other actual use cases which I'll talk about in a second, which are quite interesting.
That's something that I'm seeing, by the way. Keeping your pets.
Yeah, man.
That's
like
a very good
most
thing.
People.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because not kids, hopefully,
Yeah.
but pets. Maybe someone is more eager to leave them at home, but at the same time, there is a lot of feelings and a lot of sentiment toward the animals. Therefore, I want to keep an eye on them.
Of course. Yeah. So I mean, there's a use case there, but what's your take, Rémi, on the Ring drone?
I think there's 2 aspects. I think the first one is the hardware aspect. I think it's super interesting. The ability for a drone to be able to, a self-flying drone.
Yeah.
I think just that piece is really cool. The fact that they apply it to a camera, okay.
Yeah.
I think it's economy of scale kind of thing, like, because I think it's $500 or something like that they announced this.
I think they initially announced the price quite high. I think they have cut it down quite a bit, and we'll talk about the price in a second. But I think the initial impression might have been like, wow, that's a lot.
Exactly, because you could. The argument is, okay, you need one camera to surveil your house. Basically, you don't need to buy multiple cameras and set them up and all of this. That's fine, but you can buy today a camera, like a home security camera, for like $30.
Sure.
So, you need a lot of cameras and you need a very big home to reach the price. I don't remember exactly what it is of that drone.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. I think the privacy aspect is very. It's the biggest concern for me. Is rings. It's not a local storage. Actually, there's been a scandal. Was it Ring? I don't remember. There's a famous company that had a scandal recently on. They were saying they were encrypting the video feed.
Was it LastPass?
LastPass.
No. So that's for passwords, but a security.
Okay.
Anyways, I don't remember if it was Ring or not, so I won't say if it was them. But the point is, there was a very big surveillance company that said, "Oh, we're encrypting the feed, and it doesn't pass by our servers and all of that." Turns out that it does, and it's not encrypted. And so it's that's the biggest concern for me, is this thing can go anywhere, and indeed it's sending everywhere.
Well, do you guys have Alexas in your house, or like Google? Yeah, you got an Alexa.
I have Google's, and then I have a bunch of security cameras. But all the security cameras record to a local server that I have at home, and so
your Alexa doesn't, right? That's
no,
always
Alexa doesn't.
That's going to Jeff Bezos's.
Of course.
I mean, like if you're because for you, the trade, and for me as well, the trade-off is worth it. Like having that there, which is convenient. I can set timers when I'm working out, when I'm cooking, play music. That's worth it to me, rather than like the tiny risk of like someone at Amazon in like an AWS server, like listening in on. I don't know why they care about me, but like that is obviously a possibility. I mean, where there is a will, there's a way, right? But for me, the trade-off is worth it. But for some people, it's not. Like they I don't know what the percentages would be, but I'd say most people are probably more on my end of the spectrum that like
Probably. I mean, people like convenience, so they're
Yeah.
more worried about, can I plug it in and then in 5 minutes it's live.
Yeah.
I mean, setting up my security system at home took me days, and
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm somewhat adept with technology. So
And you also have the maintenance burden.
Yeah,
it's
of
not
course,
just
of course.
mounting it up, but it's
Yeah.
also maintaining it, which is not trivial.
Do you have any smart home tech at all?
I don't.
No. Okay.
Because
Is that,
I'm
is
a
that
security
choice? Yeah. So you are concerned about
yes,
that.
I mean, for me, it's not worth the price. So I'm just saying, hey,
ever considered doing it locally? I mean, there's plenty of very good systems that work, but obviously then you have the maintenance and all of
exactly.
that.
Potentially, yes. When I was young, yes. My university room, yes. Hell yeah. Right now, I'm just I'm not going to have anything. It's not worth it for me.
Fair enough.
That's purely the matter of it.
There was a case of somebody that got one of the early versions of these, using it to fly around their office when they were working from home to check that their staff were working. Do you think that's going a bit too far, perhaps?
That's definitely going too far.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That would be terrifying. But I mean, well, I can totally see that happening for some companies. Then it becomes a matter of, well, we are hiring, so these companies are doing it, better for our company, because hopefully people are going to start looking for other jobs.
Yeah. These drones, right? They are getting so good, and so quickly. I remember seeing the early drones, and I remember having one when I was a kid, and it was terrible. It was you'd press a button, it would smash against a wall instantly. I mean, now they are. I don't know if you saw the London firework display had the drones. It's insane. How good some of them are getting. Do you think we could have a situation, in our lifetimes, where we have drones delivering Amazon packages, delivering pizzas, delivering hearts in if you need an emergency surgery situation? Do you see that being?
That's already a thing. So there's a company in Africa. They're based in San Francisco, but they operate in Africa called Zipline. The unicorn. I think they won.
I've covered them on the show, I think.
So that's exactly what they do. They don't deliver live organs just yet, but they deliver medication. They deliver blood. So I grew up in Rwanda, and Rwanda was their first operating base.
Cool.
And so the point in Rwanda is it's a very hilly country. So to go from one place to another by flight is very quick most of the time. But to go by road, it's like mountain roads everywhere. And so Zipline was delivering blood supplies from in really remote hospitals and stuff from the main city. And so I think that's definitely a thing. I think it's interesting though that I don't see this working in the city because, come on, you can't have drones flying all over the place in the city.
Stolen. Slingshot them down.
But in more rural areas or longer distances, definitely, I think that's definitely a thing. I think Amazon's got a program in Australia as well where they were testing that out.
In North Carolina, there's a company right now doing a trial with, I want to say it's 300 different restaurants. It might even be more than that, where you can order it on your Uber Eats app or whatever, and it will be there with a drone. And the way that they deliver it is rather than the drone coming down. I think with Amazon you had to place a QR code and it would scan it,
and it would land.
With this, it's sound like a string. Rather than using the drone. I mean, you could pull the string, I suppose, but it kind of narrows down your pizza and then gives it to you, and then it flies away.
Ziplines just drops it. It's an actual plane
everywhere.
It drops it, and the little package got a little parachute, and then it just flies down.
That's cool. Flying
That's
pizzas.
amazing. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, the first step would be, for example, in the city, I think that something that can really apply is instead the drone that maybe it's not flying, but it's the one that is just driving. The self-driving drone that is delivering pizzas and all this sort. That is happening already. In US is much easier because of their cities are much more regular than London, which is a mess, of course. But it's going to happen also here. I'm not super sure I agree with it's not going to happen in the city with the flying drones because people are going to slingshot them. There will be some, but it's going to be a matter of getting used. I think that the future is going to be effectively just drones moving things, because logistic is what is currently keeping us still stuck. We still need trucks and container ships, and then the container ships get into Suez Canal and everything gets bananas. So we need to overcome that, and the only way to overcome that is by not having any more humans doing all these works and
last
having
mile thing of the delivery process, right? That's what needs the innovation. And I suppose like my mind goes to whenever there's a new piece of tech. Even if it might not work in the city, it might not. But even if it doesn't, it'll probably get trialed in the city at least. Because remember, like Lime scooters and then like in every hedge you walked by, you'd have an electric scooter, and there's still a thing. People still use them. I think people have kind of gone down the route of owning theirs rather than just like renting it out for like a pound, an hour on scanning it. But you'll probably see drones with Domino's logos on scattered all over the hedges like in a couple of years, right? Am I crazy saying that, or do you think that's
I'm still not convinced it will happen in the city. I think regulation won't allow it, but because a drone makes a lot of noise, surprisingly. Like imagine you have 50 drones flying around in the street. That's a lot of noise. So I'm not convinced in the city, but
that's the next steps.
It would be. What if you grab one of these, slingshot it, and hack it, and then strap a gun to it, and then say anything that it recognizes as a person, open fire?
I mean, you could do that today, buy a DJI, strap a gun to it, and then off you go. So it's not that trivial to do compared to what people think. But you would be able to do that today. I mean, DJI just launched a new drone. I forgot what it's called, and it's $500. $500. It flies as fast as the most expensive drones. It's under 250 grams, so you can fly it basically anywhere. So you could do that today if you really wanted to.
That's interesting. We mentioned price a moment ago. It's less than 500. I think for the Ring drone they've reduced it, I believe. But any guesses on what this is going to retail for?
My guess was I thought it was $499 or something like that, but maybe not.
Okay.
Less than 1,000.
Yeah, it's actually half that. It's $250.
Oh, wow.
What they're going for. So I think a lot of the time they sell these. I don't know what it costs them to make it, but a lot of the time they sell it at cost because then they make the money on the subscription that you have to pay, obviously. But for $250, I mean, like maybe I don't know if I might just get one for the gimmick of it. Like you have guests around your house and you're like, hey, look at this, boom, and then a drone flies off. I mean, that'd be insane. But I just don't know long term. They'd need to add a lot more to it, I think, in order for it to like if it had an iPad screen on it, and then you can fly around, have conversations with people, then maybe the whole office idea becomes a little bit less creepy. But
I think you can already speak through it. I mean, you can speak through your Ring, but you probably can't see people.
Yeah. Do you think it's worth $250? Would you potentially get one for that price?
I would never get one of them, but that's just me. I think that it might work. As I said, the point is not selling the thing. The point is selling the subscription. So it would be interesting to see what is their business model. I'm not sure. This is a startup. Is it
Ring? No, Ring is
public already.
Ring is a Shark Tank company that got rejected, and then got
the American Dragon's Den.
Yep.
And then got acquired by Amazon for 1.5 billion, I think, something like that.
So it's Amazon owned.
Now it's Amazon. Yeah.
Terrifying.
The guy who pitched in front of the Sharks and was rejected, he's now worth probably more than some of them.
And he's a shark now.
He came back as a guest.
He joined.
He
joined Shark Tank as a shark.
Yeah. Wow. the ultimate cycle. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's been anyone on Dragon's Den that's come back to be a dragon, but
no, that's the ultimate.
Like F you,
yeah, exactly. I do know what to say, but yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. He's like he's one of the top guys at Amazon now. I think he's like number 2 or 3, like in terms of like succession to Jassy as well. He's like he's up there. So it's.
What is your deal with Amazon? Why did they acquire it? Why would Amazon get so much in Domantic?
They got iRobot, the Roomba. They have the Alexa. They have I think the smart home. They're trying to own that category, like smart home technology. If
competing with Google and others.
Yeah, which is weird because a lot of these devices are not making money. Alexa is losing a lot of money. Like they've just laid off 18,000 workers at Amazon, and a big chunk of them were in the Echo team and such. And a large part of that is because when they built these things, they expected you to order your pizza through the Alexa. They expected you to buy Amazon packages through it and whatnot. But people are using it for a timer. People are using it to play music, and you buy it, and then a lot of people are not have you ever bought anything for your Alexa or
I order food sometimes.
you do? Okay, so
yeah.
you are keeping it alive, I suppose. I'm not. I'm the leech. I bought it and I haven't bought a
ask the
single
weather.
thing. Yeah, I ask the weather basically, man. And I think one time it like tried to get me to upgrade to listen to certain songs on YouTube, and I tried to say no, and it went, yeah, thank you for that. You've just made that purchase. I'm like what? So sneaky.
No, I use it. Yeah, sometimes I buy stuff, but most of the time it's for house automation. So like control the home, basically. That's
what do you have linked to it?
everything. Blind, lights,
Wow.
Hoover, Ring,
Tony
everything.
Stark.
I don't know. I think last time I checked on my Wi-Fi network, I had over 200 devices that were connected. So
oh my god. Okay, like the modern Jarvis. Yeah. Whereas you're, living in a cave. No technology allowed.
Exactly. I do things manually. I love the manual contact with things.
come on, how nice is it to be in bed and be like, oh, just turn off the light.
I mean, the problem is that I think I'm a man born in the computers and I'm a networking engineer, so I'm scared of all this.
So am I, but I don't know. Fuck it.
You just wait until someone hacks you and turns up the temperature so you cook alive in your bedroom, and then you won't be laughing. But it's interesting to see where drones, where smart tech, where home automation is going. And I think one thing is for certain is that that's not an area that's going to slow down anytime soon. No. Like regardless of if you love it or hate it, which it seems to be like Marmite, like it's going to just continue to every little thing in your home is going to be automated at some point. It almost reminds me of the Wallace and Gromit scene where, the bed, like the alarm clock goes off, the bed flips over. Yeah. He falls out the bed into his clothes. The coffee's already made. The toast is ready. Call me crazy, but in a couple of years, why not?
I think there's a lot of stuff that you won't be able to say no to either. So in France, for example, they all the homes now are required to have a smart meter, and it's required by law. It's a Linky, it's called. It's supplied by the, I think even by the government, not even by the companies. And you have to. You don't have a choice. Otherwise, you pay. Actually, you do have a choice, but then you pay a fine every year of ridiculous amounts. So it's kind of. I think a lot of stuff. Maybe not. It won't go for everything, but I think a lot of useful devices like that will just become mandatory because it's just.
They're convenient. I have got one. I moved into a new place a few months back, and it's nice to know that you're paying for what you've used rather than guesstimating it, which is cool. So I mean, there are less intrusive automation, home things, but I get it. Like people that want privacy, they want privacy, and they want to own their data. They don't want it to be stored on because what is the cloud? I mean, it's just somebody else's server. Like you're just trusting another person to do it, which is a terrible idea if you look at like LastPass and everything that's happened, and so I mean. It's convenience, but at a massive cost if it goes wrong.
You could do a lot of this locally. There's a lot of these automations that you can do locally. Yeah. Of course, today it is much more effort to set up.
I ain't got time for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody does.
But I wouldn't be surprised if good alternatives that are as easy to set up than the cloud ones, but locally come up.
Okay, another clip of something that's happening in the world. So this is the Dyson Zone. Okay, this is a pair of headphones with a face mask, but not just any face mask, an air purifying device. So this either looks completely crazy and ridiculous or it's genius. There is that fine line between insanity and genius. And
it's Dyson that came up with this?
Dyson. Well, Dyson had the hand, where you go in and was it Dyson where you can
the blade thingy.
Dyson blade. So it's that tech on a pair of headphones, really. I mean, Dyson's interesting. They try a lot of cool stuff. I love the founder. I think they did a Dyson car at one point. They spent millions into it and then just never launched it because it wasn't perfect. And they like to release perfect products. I don't know if this is perfect. This is interesting, but I suppose in a post-COVID world, maybe they're onto something here. But,
maybe.
Anyway, let's have a look at the Dyson Zone. Been in works for a while, and a lot of people say 2023 could be the year it gets released and is popular, successful, etc., etc. So this is the Dyson Zone. Please watch on video if you're on audio only at this point. And there we are, showing some renders. It is created. I've seen people reviewing this, so it works. And yeah, it's a pair of headphones with a air filtration device on your mouth. I don't really know what else to say about it other than that. I think that describes it. But it's got different colours. I'm sure you'll be able to have branded ones at some point. I think the actual music, what you're listening to, might be like charging the filtration, or I might just like sound really smart saying that, but that might not be the case. But yeah, that's the Dyson Zone. What do you think?
That seems like a very good thing for most of roadworks, office construction.
Yeah.
These kind of works that they need to have both ear protection and something that we never thought about. But mouth protection, if you're doing asphalt, you probably need something from your mouth as well. For office, it would be. I understand the usage in an office shared work for people who want it.
Yeah.
That's about it. I don't see people going around with something like that.
Yeah.
And most of mask wearing is done for people who travel to a place that is not their house.
Yeah.
So I'm not super sure.
Yeah. What do you think, Rémi?
I think there's a huge space for traveling around. I mean, if you live in China, if you live in Poland, where air pollution is ridiculously high, I would definitely want something like that. I don't know if I would want that particularly, but I would want something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a friend who moved away from a city in Poland to a smaller city simply because he was worried for his kid and the air pollution. That's how bad it is. So I think there is a space for it. I don't know. This seems a bit like a gimmick. Sure. You're right, Dyson are a super innovative company and they just try everything. I think they're engineering like first and then product second.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess we'll see. It's an interesting one.
Do you think it looks a little bit ridiculous? Like
for sure.
Maybe I don't know. But I said that about AirPods and they were like the bathroom product things and the cotton ball things in your ears, but like. No, I mean, like, everyone's wearing AirPods now. I mean, AirPods are great, but it reminds me of Batman with the Bane mask.
Problem there is it's a bit too much visible, which is why the AirPods, the first version was very big, and the second one is much smaller because that looks not great, the first one. Yeah. So this one has the problem of being too bulky.
Yeah.
So yes, he's right. I think you are right, Rémi, in saying, hey, people for traveling around, that's very useful. Absolutely. Needs to be less bulky, needs to be something different. I'm not sure that the application on the headphones is the right one for the masks.
Does the music even work? Because in the video, it kind of looked like, you know, in the cups there was the fans that were doing the filtration.
I mean, I'm sure it does. I mean, they wouldn't have the headphones otherwise, would they? They'd just have the mask.
It's an AirPod inside.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know what the quality of them like. I mean, I know Dyson doesn't really release bad products usually, which is why I'm like excited about Apple finally getting into the metaverse and VR and AR, because right now it's just so blocky. But when they enter it this year or next year, you know, there's certain companies where if they do something, you know, it's like it's gonna be good. So who knows? Maybe Dyson will kill it with this. But I think you are kind of right. It does look a little bit like a bit too chunky right now. Maybe if there was a way to make AirPods how they like blasted out air. I don't know what the solution is. Maybe there isn't one, but I don't know how, like, sitting on a tube with this and then having that on your face, you might feel a little bit weird.
Intrusive, yeah.
But then again, people still wear the huge ventilation N95 ones, and you know, if they want to wear that, they're not going to care what other people say. It's for COVID, so it's almost like the perfect time to release. Or maybe they should have released this like 2 years ago. Or something.
I was about to say 2 years ago would have been even better.
Yeah. Would you wear this? Would you walk around the streets confidently wearing this, or would you feel a bit?
If I was living in a very polluted place, yeah. If I was living in China or some cities in China are just a joke. You can't even see 5 meters in front of you by how polluted the city is. Yeah. So yeah, in a place like that, yeah, for sure.
Would you wear it?
No.
Which is just design-wise.
It's exactly. It's just to be okay. So I have a pair of the famous Bose one.
Yeah, they look cool.
They look cool, but still I find them really uncomfortable to just walk around with the headphones. So that's definitely too bulky for me.
They're meant to be a lot better than Beats, the Bose. I don't even know if they're still making Beats. I haven't seen them for ages, but
they still exist.
Yeah, I mean Apple own them now, don't they? I mean Dr. Dre became a billionaire when they acquired them. Like what? Which is pretty cool. But I mean, like, it's the sort of thing where if one or two people are wearing this, it's a bit weird. But then if suddenly everybody's wearing it, like AirPods, like who cares? Like,
Yeah.
That's true, but that's the main difference. So I think that in general, personal devices, electronic personal devices, can work only if they are not too visible.
Yeah.
So the phone became much bigger relatively recently, but
Yeah.
still, it's something that you hide. You don't walk around with a phone in your hand.
Yeah.
The AirPods are small. The Apple Watch, okay, it's bulky, but it's still size of a watch.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's just too big.
Yeah. It's like you're carrying a computer on your head. If you like, it's like the Oculus. Like it's just too big. It's you need it in these. And then Mac will run the universe. But right now it's like it's just way too clunky and big, right? What about because of like you mentioned there in China and pollution? That's only going to get worse in a lot of areas of the world. I mean, a lot of areas are hopefully going to get better. But if I had to be a realist, I mean, like capitalism, companies pumping out stuff into the air to make it worse, it's probably going to continue. Probably going to get worse in a lot of areas. So. Do you think this is a growing market potentially? People to use that sort of filtration, because it could be better than a face mask if it's Dyson, if it's giving you clean air.
A lot of people have like at home air filters. Again, I lived in Malaysia for a while, and it was really common to just have that in your home, in your bedroom, and it's an air filter, a humidifier. It does all of it.
Yeah.
So, I why not? I don't know, because. People just, for example, in China, when there's pollution alerts, people just don't go out. They just stay home, and that's that.
Yeah.
And they're told not to go out. They're told to stay home. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, the China one is. When I've been to China, I didn't believe how bad it could be, and then I remember getting out of a subway and walking up the stairs, and I just couldn't see.
Yeah, it's smog. Yeah, it's crazy.
And it was like whoa, like it was. And you could taste it in your lungs and in your mouth. It was awful. I mean, yeah. Do you think this is potentially a growing market, or do you think it's more of a gimmick?
It's a gimmick. It's definitely a gimmick. That doesn't mean that, as you said, it is a niche market. I would expect Dyson to take this information and actually make a purifier.
Yeah.
I don't know if they already have an air purifier of something of sort, but that technology, it seems like, okay, we're just moving on.
It's a bigger use case, right?
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah, having it in your home rather than strapping it to your face. It's probably you could sell it to more people. But,
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. What about price wise? To take a guesstimate.
On that one in particular?
On the Dyson zone.
It's Dyson, over $1,000.
Over $1,000, wow.
It's
I
Dyson. They sell a freaking hairdryer for
I would have said 500, but probably he's right.
Yeah, it's just under. It's $950.
So
in pounds, maybe more. But yeah, it's expensive. I mean, you pay a lot of money for headphones. What do you remember what you paid for your Bose headphones?
$350.
Yeah.
Okay.
Possibly.
Yeah. So this is like 3 of them.
Yeah.
I suppose for there will be some people that are willing to pay that. I just don't think the average person would spend $1,000 on a face mask and some headphones. They already have headphones. They already have a face mask. Is it adding that much more?
I'm not sure.
No. Would you pay $950 for it?
Nope.
What would you pay for it if you because you said you'd wear one if you know
300, something like that.
Yeah. I think a good place to sell them would be like an airport in China or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if before you get out, and if it's cheap enough where it's not like a decision you have to really think about, but it's like, oh, I'm going out there, and I buy headphones at the airport anyway, then why not get this?
Yeah, I think if it was a similar price or just a little bit more than that, then a good pair of headphones. Like today, the Bose ones, the Sony ones, they're all around $300, something like that.
Yeah.
So if it was around that price or maybe $100 more, then why not? But three times more, that's a bit ridiculous.
That's considering. I would go back to my initial topic.
Yeah.
This is something that a lot of office construction workers, a lot of people who works in not dangerous environment, but relatively more dangerous environments could very well use that.
And it's hard to hear in those environments if you've got drilling, but if you've got a mic on this and you can hear each other, like we're hearing each other right now, and that's a great use case potentially.
Exactly.
So that could definitely make a lot of sense. Have you guys seen the headphones where it's purely vibration technology on
the glasses.
Yeah. So
the Ray-Bans have
yeah,
some.
the Meta Ray-Ban Stories, I think they call them. So the whatever you call this, the stem,
Branch, I'm not sure.
Yeah, the tree. This vibrates here, and the music is picked up by your temple, so there's nothing in your ear, right? It's to me that's probably more the future of headphones, because you're not having to stick something in your ear. It's just if everybody could have that, Yes
and no. I think the whole point of headphones is to isolate yourself. I like to wear headphones on a plane because then I don't hear the noise of the plane. These things don't isolate you at all. So it's kind of like if you had another person, like a band playing next to you, but you can still hear everything that's happening around you. So I think it's two different use cases. I've tried the Ray-Ban ones. I've tried. I think Bose even has it's called bone conducting technology, like a band that you put around your head. And it's great if you want to go running and if you want to hear cars and stuff like that. But if I'm in a co-working space or if I'm on a plane, I don't want to hear people around me. So I'd rather, isolate myself with headphones.
Sometimes I just put headphones on and don't listen to music, just so people don't
talk
to me.
Exactly.
At the same time, though, I mean, you see it's constantly on the road, people with the AirPods, but not because they have the AirPods for a function. They are just speaking with each other, but it's just so commonly used. So that could be something that it can be easily replaced by a pair of glasses.
Have you tried out the noise cancelling AirPod Pros or like?
The AirPod Max.
Yep. Yeah, I tried them the other day, and oh my god, it's insane. Like those little things can completely suppress external sound. Even if you're not playing music or something, it can just block it out. It's crazy how quickly that's happened. Because I remember noise cancelling being like these, and it was pretty average, and I remember like going up to my friends and like clicking here to see if it works and stuff, and but it's like it's insane how quickly and how good it's become, in that small factor.
And that's why I don't think that the drones noise will be a problem, because I mean, if we are going to the direction where we are removing noises, then the noise does not become a problem anymore. Maybe. So that could be very well work.
Okay, cool. Well, look, thank you for coming in, chaps. It was good to get your perspective into what's happening in the world of tech. Some pretty crazy stories in this episode and products. Some things that will either completely go to billion-dollar levels, or maybe we'll be talking about this as like a Google Glass moment in a couple of years. But I think to conclude, color-changing BMW car, I think we kind of came to the conclusion that this might be a thing in a couple of decades, maybe a little bit earlier. There's some dangers there with advertising, with misuse, but there's massive applications in like military, for example. So that was a really good point. Ring drone, I think we all agreed that drones are getting more and more and more advanced, they're getting crazier and crazier. But it's a little bit too early in terms of being available there for mass adoption. Maybe more like a PR, like great, cool product. We're cutting edge, we're innovative. Look at this, it flies. But maybe not going to be in every single house soon. And then Dyson Zone, this one is a little bit more divided. Like you're not a fan, you wouldn't wear it, but I'd give it a try. But I think we all agree on that one. There is a use for it, but it's just probably not going to be like every single person using it. If that makes sense.
It's not going to be the next AirPods.
No. Sorry, Dyson, but it's really cool though. Still, keep making more cool stuff that I can talk about, please. Cool. Well, thanks for coming on. Good to get your perspectives. And for those watching, listening, make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, etc., and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you. Hey, thanks for watching this podcast. Make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, comment, etc., and I'll see you in the next episode.
The Alfie Whattam Podcast.
Imagine if you were able to hire the next Elon Musk. Or if you got a job at Facebook, back when it was just a startup. Well, these people and these opportunities, they are still out there, and we have access to them. Access to all of them. At Alpha Technology, we specialise in software development recruitment across London and the UK. From React to Java to C# and more. we represent the best front-end, back-end, and full-stack engineers on the market. This includes top developers from Meta, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, and more. Our clients operate across AI, blockchain, VR, AR, fintech, edtech, health tech, and more. From startups to global enterprises and everything in between. But Alpha isn't just a recruitment agency. We are also a tech community. We host podcasts, run meetup events, and lead ED&I initiatives, supporting women in technology, BAME individuals, and the Tech for Good ecosystem. So, if you're a company looking to hire software engineers, or if you're a developer open to new opportunities yourself, then we are here to help. Alpha Technology. Recruiting for the future.